Hey, Brianna, what a gorgeous run you and Kip made, winning the whole thing. There was 102 riders at Sandspurs, all in men race or something I thought it was called. There at Sandspur, New Smyrna Beach. You ran a 14,989. Your draw number was 76, so late in the draw, but top of the ground, so that's awesome. And again, Smoke and Run absolutely rode beautiful, and he was really working. So he comes in with nice speed, and you were riding very pretty. Your sittings forward, hands in the middle of his neck, very focused on riding to your spot. Your feet were just lightly bumping him in stride with him. And then when you go to the horn, you're a good 2-3 strides still from the barrel. And then he rates down one with his tail starting to go towards second. He rates 2, and your pocket's tight. You barely have maybe a foot to 2 foot going in, and he is a big horse. So it's amazing how well he came back. And you, even with going to the horn early, you just trusted him to do his job, and he did. And even, like I said, a small 1 to 2 foot pocket, he came back beautifully. There's your first stride finish. Now you're at your second stride. He pushes off and drives out really nice and straight. You're double kicking rein hand to the ears and then back to 2 hands. He already swapped his lead. You get him squared up. You go to the horn early, but noticing how your body is positioned, you're still looking past the barrel at your spot. The outside rein is loose. Your hand is low, but in the middle of his neck. But your shoulders and your hips are still saying go straight. See how your inside shoulder is slightly forward just because your hand is still saying go. So you're not picking him up. Your legs are on him, which also tells him to keep going. So you're sitting in the middle of him, loose rein, but still riding forward with your eyes, energy, body, and leg on. So as he rated down with that one, as you go to the horn, he rates 1, big stride before the barrel, 2, at the barrel. Your legs at the barrel, again, small pocket, about 3 feet max there. And then notice between spot 2 and 3 how you look for third. Sit back with your inside hip and shoulder. This is a great run for people to learn from. And notice you bend your elbow, keeping it at your side, not pulled back, and lift your hand towards your belly button or saddle horn. And all of that is just a nice light guide. You cannot pull on this horse if he'll leave the turn. So by just bending your elbow and picking up your hand as you sat down and looked, he just comes around beautifully. And then you gave it right back and use your horn to stabilize yourself and pull up and go with this power leaving. So we're using a lot of things when we leave a barrel: weight in the stirrups, core strength, and stabilizing on your saddle horn, so that we can stay off their head and go with their power out of the turn. You did that beautifully. About a week ago, last weekend, he kind of left you coming home from third home, and you got back in the middle of them. But that tells you how strong these horses are and how our timing has to be with them. So you get back to 2 hands. You rode beautifully here. You got him squared up, and you trusted him again. He goes and swaps his lead. You stayed 2 hands at this point. Then when you go to the horn, you know you've got your spot. So you sit down for rate, your inside legs on him, and then you're at the horn. Rate 1, rate 1 happened. Here's where you cued him. You sat, he rates 1 there. So again, coming out, you get back to 2 hands and square him up. And then when you sit and put your leg on, here, he knows that you want to start rating down. When you go to the horn, he rates 1. Then he rates 2. And again, earlier you bend your elbow on this one. As you sit down, inside legs on him, your hands back by your belly button, lifting up and starting to look around, and then driving him out. And it's a bump and point, so you're not pulling. It's just a bump to pick him up, and then kind of guiding him around. And you could actually, even right here, when you do that bump and let it go, as soon as you looked up, you could bump one more time, and then outside leg, and then double kick, and he'll come around really good. But you did a beautiful job with that. He's a very big boy, and it's always amazing to me with his huge stride how he can stay in a small 3 foot pocket and really just wrap it and snap out. Just gorgeous. So, and then he flew home, and you over and undered him, and you can see him reach out, and he has nice speed at this point. He's really reaching out beautifully. And you went ahead and ripped all the way to the timer because you had a great run going. And congratulations again. Gorgeous run, 14,989, 102 entries. And you took the win with draw number 76. So, like I said, it's just gorgeous. Everything about it I loved. And first, bro, noticing your hand position. This one, you don't bend your hand. You didn't bend your elbow. It's probably because you felt him raiding and being in so tight. You don't want to bring your hand over the barrel, but because you kept it forward, you stayed out of his way and let him work. But then you did the same thing going into this barrel. You kept it forward and let him work. But then you knew to help him finish by sitting on that inside hip and shoulder and bending that elbow. So those little different things you do in the moment are really helpful. Like I said, you keep your hand forward. This one, you must have felt like, okay, it's a half a turn. I better bump him to start it and bump him to finish it. And then he got out of there really nice and he was working. And just horses, some horses don't like people in the face, and no horse wants you to pull on them. So I don't want people to be afraid of a quick bump though, and just a quick guiding. And it can be the difference of your arm being straight versus you bending your elbow and just lifting your hand up and back an inch towards your saddle horn. So those are things to keep in mind. But gorgeous job, Brianna. And you didn't even have to stay two hands all the way. He had enough momentum that you're able to go to the horn one or two strides from the barrel, as long as your body and your eyes, your energy, legs, everything else is still saying get in the hole. And you did a great job. So congratulations. This is a wonderful video for everyone to learn from, and great job.